Hi, I'm just going to have a quick look at how you can write units of work using AI, and you can use these tools as a conversation to build really good quality units of work, where it does a lot of the lifting and you just do a bit of the thinking and prompting and asking a couple of questions, and you'll be able to go deeper with your learning in much, much less time. So I've asked ChatGPT, it's just a resource that everyone's familiar with, to please assist me in writing a 6-week app building unit for Year 8 digital technology. I've told it the what stage, NESA curriculum, etc. I've given it the outcomes we're covering. I said we want to have deep learning element embedded. I've talked about citizenship and the focus there. We want to start and end with, I guess, an introduction and reflective activity on that deep learning element. So I've told it a bit about what we actually want to do, what we know we want to do. If I didn't have ideas, I could ask for ideas. I could get to generate me something from scratch with suggestions. We had a specific idea. So I've given it some details. We're using Adobe XD, solving real world problems, benefiting citizens, doing a portfolio, graphs model for the assessment. And we've told it some fairly specific stuff along the way of what we want to get out of it. But again, if you didn't have that, you could easily ask for it. So if you've got a pretty good idea of what you think you want the kids to do, you can easily write a unit, or even if you're looking for ideas, you can get ideas from AI and then get it to write the unit for you. I've then given some other information of the structure. We've got 15 lessons, 65 minutes. I want it as a table. I want suggested activities, videos along the way. We're going to do a booklet. We want to match the learning sequence with the booklet, etc. So now I've got my table. I've got my title, got my driving question, my duration. I've got my learning objective, my sequence of activities, any resources. It starts with a bit of a table, lesson by lesson, telling me what we're going to do. Now, I did find along the way that sometimes it just gave me exactly what I already kind of told it, where sometimes I wanted to dig deeper. So where it says here, evaluate brainstormed concepts. So if I wanted to know, okay, how can I do that well? How can I do that effectively? You can re-prompt. And there's a booklet design. Here's the sections that I should have to match. So can you please rewrite it? I want you to compress these lessons. I want to allow for approximately 8 lessons to build the app, etc. So I've given it a bit more refining on how to sequence it. It's gone and done that for me. Cool. So lessons 5 to 12 now are doing the same thing. I've then said, hey, now can you write the assessment in the GRASP model format? And I've got our GRASP assessment here. Companies ask them to design an app to benefit citizens, etc. Describes the situation, the role, the products they'll make, etc. And I've already gone and used that in our booklet and in our assessment notification. I've then asked it to put in some learning objective columns from the curriculum. Scroll over that because it didn't actually do it correctly the first time. It had some weird spacing in it. I then, in a separate chat, I think I retweaked that one. How could we effectively, this is the next section, how could we effectively get them to evaluate and reflect on citizenship? So in the unit, it just said, hey, do this in a very plain, simple way. It didn't really tell us how we could do it effectively. So I've drilled a bit deeper here. What's some activities or tasks? And I got a whole bunch of ideas that I could include in my unit. And I pinched a couple of these along the way. So can you give me some examples of case study analysis ideas? I've kind of drilled in on one of their suggestions and asked it to find me some, different apps that have a positive or negative impact in solving, or not solving real world problems. So that along the way, the content links back to our deep learning theme. We can constantly link back to citizenship. When it says introduce UI design principles in the unit, okay, well, how can we do that? What are some different ideas or, so I've got ideas for those activities. So then I can grab this information. I can include more details in my unit plan for what I actually want to do, rather than having a very vague unit plan. This is actually giving me really good ideas that we can actually implement in the class. I've then, prompted into an activity for this one. What are some apps that have that are popular, that have a positive citizenship element that we can lean on. So I've just tried to link back into the citizenship for the different activities that we're doing along the way. Here's the next section, which I think is really cool. We're a Seventh-day Adventist school. We want to have our Adventist identity embedded, and we want to do this meaningfully. So, well, firstly, can you write a statement indicating how Adventist values and views can be embedded into the course, linking with the concept of citizenship? We want a strong connection between the two. And I have got a statement here looking at what this can look like. But rather than just slapping this on the top, we want to make sure this is actually meaningful and embedded in the course. And going through this, it really did reiterate with our theme for this app building unit, solving real world problems, and some of the discussions we'll have, serving others and ethical use of technology in particular. They're really strong themes that we actually are covering in our citizenship component. So it makes sense to link them in. So then I've then asked, hey, what are some intentional links where we could actually expand on these concepts and make links to our Adventist identity? So then I've got lesson suggestions of how in different lessons you could integrate in a Bible story or conversation and how it links in with that lesson. And they can actually be embedded into the unit plan as I go. I've then asked it to do a course overview for me to put it all together. I did a few more questions regarding rewording some deep learning elements in the rubric. I didn't want to use just the language that they use if it wasn't going to be super student friendly. I want to make it a bit more applicable to this task. I've reworded a little bit for deep learning, how to measure it. I've also asked them for outcomes to link on the assessment. I had to reprompt it there because it misinterpreted me, which is fine. That's part of it. I then asked it to do the marking rubric for my assessment as well, based on what I've asked it to do for our booklet marking. Yeah, I've re-given it the grasp assessment, which I think I tweaked slightly from what it originally gave me, and it got it to help me mark the app. And again, slight tweaks were made along the way, but through this prompting process, I was just able to describe what I wanted, reprompt and drill in on some stuff where I wanted a bit more, and develop a unit. And then essentially it was just copying and pasting in. I got my overview, driving question, key ideas, identity. I got my outcomes. And then I've started to put in everything, just hyperlink the videos. I made some good video suggestions. A couple I found. I lend on some ClickView stuff. And we start to have our unit being put together. Now, for this one here, this one was easier for me in the sense that I already knew roughly where we wanted to go because we've already backwards mapped it. But if you were writing a new unit and you didn't know where you wanted to go, there's a whole process at the start of this where you could get ideas and then you could go down this process and get to develop your unit for you. So hopefully you can see how AI can be used as a tool and assistant to write units. This unit and this process, it was actually fun to write. No one ever says that about unit planning. Let's be honest, it's not fun for people to do, but this took out the cognitive load of actually doing it and the typing, and it actually allowed me as the teacher just to drill into what do I actually want them to get out of this, and the parts that are hard, for example, embedding the deep learning stuff, how to effectively do Adventist identity. I could just ask it to give me ideas of how to work it in there, and I'm spent a whole lot less time on this than what it would have taken to write myself. The quality of what we're doing is going to be a whole lot better. And essentially the only work that I had to do was ask a couple of questions and then just copy and paste. And now we're good to go. Since gone and made the booklet for this, got chat to help with the booklet as well. Anyway, hopefully that's giving you some ideas on how you can use it to make you a more efficient and more effective unit writer. Hopefully this has been helpful. Thanks.